I use a food mill regularly in my canning, so in this video, I'm going to show you in detail how to use it. It's pretty easy. The first thing that you need to do is connect it to a countertop. You have to make sure that you have one that's deep enough to fit in there so that it has a good bite. And keep in mind that there'll be juice that'll be dripping off of the bottom, and so it's going to make a little bit of a mess. I usually put a towel on the ground or nearby, but don't put it next to anything that you're really worried about. Next, I put the corkscrew looking piece inside the sieve portion. Now this one has really fine holes, but there's other ones that are larger, like for making applesauce or for doing pumpkin puree. There's all kinds of different options, but this is the one I use the most frequently just because I do a lot of tomatoes with it. I then fit this piece inside the base unit, making sure to line up the little square from the handle to the hole that's on the inside. Then I fold over the screws so that they're in the grooves, and I lightly tighten them down. Before I get them tightened down too far though, I want to install the chute, because if it's too tight, you can't actually squeeze this into where it needs to go. There's a fine line for how tight to make it, because if you make it too tight, it'll actually ruin the plastic corkscrew piece. The final step is to take the hopper and place it into the very top of the unit. I then place my bucket with the honey strainer right underneath the spout. I have a little table. Sometimes I use a chair that I'll put underneath it, and that works pretty well. You don't want it to be too far or you'll get a lot of splashing. I also have a bucket that's designated specifically for foodstuffs like this, like with the tomatoes, because I don't want my husband or my kids taking it and using it outside for some other purpose. In addition, I have my husband's honey strainer. I call it my husband's, but I've actually used it like 1,000 times more than him now, because this does such a good job at separating out the juice from the pulp. And so for me, the majority of time, that's what I'm looking to do. Not always, and it fits perfectly on the top of the bucket. I then scoop up whatever it is that I'm doing. Today it's tomatoes, and I pour it in the hopper. You can see how some of the juice starts coming out right away. Now, if you're not separating the juice, you can omit the honey strainer. I have the tamper, and I can use that when I need to press the stuff down. But in the beginning, it's loose enough that it's not even necessary. All you do is you spin your handle. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, you need a bowl to collect all of the seeds and skin. And you can see what a great job it does at separating out the skin and seeds, the pulp, and then in this case, because I'm using the filter, the juice as well.